Hey guys, welcome back for another video. I've got an exciting product today. This is brand new from Aoocci. It's their new C9 flagship series of dash systems for your bike, including front and rear dash cams, depending on the model you get, tire pressure monitoring, CarPlay, Android Auto, and all that kind of good stuff. Now this is replacing the C6 series, and it's a fairly minor but comprehensive refresh. We're going to see some similarities, we're going to see some differences. Stay tuned to the end. If you just bought a C6 series, don't assume yet that you might want to upgrade to this one. Some of the changes may not be important to you. And I have to say, pay no attention to how things look in the box here. It was brand new, shrink wrapped and all that. Mr. Stupid here behind the camera formatted the wrong card and I lost my original unboxing clip. So I'm just redoing this first section for you. So straight off the top, we've got the very familiar housing and the same 6-inch screen. No problems with that. We'll of course be putting this on the bike. It's gonna all go on my FJR, and we're gonna do the same day-night tests. We're gonna show you the dash cams and all that and make sure everything is good. Now it's an all new OS, so the menus are gonna be completely different. I'm just getting the wires here out of the shipping container. So there are a lot of new things and I'm going to point them out as we go along. It looks very familiar, you know, nothing unusual. We've got the shock mounts here for the actual mount piece. This is something new. They have a ton of different mounts, so you're not relegated to just a bar clamp. They do have many different bar clamps. They also have ram ball options, and there is one here in the box. So all of that is now super easy to replace this and mount however you want on the bike. Just contact them with your order and they can send you whatever mount you want. And then we have the familiar front, rear, and power cables for the connections. We have a little metal bracket here on top. That's where your SD card or micro SD card lives, and nothing else. Still no hard buttons, familiar shape. If you'll notice on the website, and it's kind of a funky order process, they've got 3 colors: black, green, and orange, I think they were. And it's just adding some color to like these design areas here. But black is the only one they have for sale. You have to click the black color on the web page in order to activate all the other options, pick which model you want and all that. So just click the black square and go from there, and then you can add it to cart as usual. And of course, I'll have a discount code to, again, save you tons of money. That's all down in the description. The other important thing is they've got 2 models, the C9 Pro and this, which is the C9 Max. The only difference between the two is $10, and the Max includes tire pressure monitoring. If you want to save $10, that's the other cool thing, it's the same price as the C6 Pro. Just new stuff. But if you want to knock 10 bucks off, you can get the C9 Pro instead of the Max and not get the tire pressure monitoring. But I don't think too many people are going to do that. I'm not sure why they even offer that as an option. I would just make everything a Max and go from there. So that's that. And then inside the box, very familiar stuff. We've got the default. You still get the bar clamp, you know, no matter what you want to go with. We've got the standard power cable. Now there is a difference here. Oops, sorry, bumped my light. Let me straighten this out. Standard plastic screw connections on the ends of the cables. There is no dedicated accessory wire. You've just got positive and negative. So this is designed really to be on a fuse block. The C6, you could install directly to a battery and a switched fuse if you wished, and that would activate the unit, but this only has positive and negative. It does have an inline fuse. Never a bad idea to have an extra fuse, but if you're going through a fuse block, that doesn't make a difference. But in order to make this switched come on and off with the bike, you're going to want to plug into a switched fuse block. Now I've got a really nice, simple $20 option. I'll put a link down to that below. I did a video on what I'm using, and that makes it just super easy to plug anything like this into your bike and run it. So you can see here they combine the accessory and the 12 volt into the one cable. So that's the only change to the power cable. We have the same 1080p resolution, but we've got a improvement to the cameras. Here's the front. Is it the front? No, this is the rear. The rear has an extension. You'll notice, ta-da, they got rid of the horrible camera mounts. Thank you guys. I don't know if they took my advice or if this was in the works already, but now we've got the nice, sturdy, thick ABS type plastic, a dedicated bolt and locking nut. You're no longer just depending on thin little punched sheet metal to grip. And of course it's GoPro style, but not GoPro. You could modify this as I did in my Chiggy review video to actually use GoPro mounts if you want to do that, but absolutely love to see this. This is the way it should be done. Kudos to them. They fixed really the only problem I had with the C6 series. So boom, that is fixed. Awesome there. And there's your extension. They give you an extra sticky pad if you want to do that. And of course screws if you want to ruin whatever you're putting your camera on. Don't know why would you want. Now I requested the 1-inch ram ball, so that's what they gave me there for easy mounting. I'm just gonna mount it on one of my mounts. And here, oh, you know what? This is something new. See this panel here, they give you this little GoPro looking piece here. This is GoPro compatible. You can mount this optionally to the top of your unit and mount whatever you want to it, such as a GoPro facing you or whatever device you want to attach to the top of this. So it's kind of like an extension to wherever you have this mounted. Just a cool little feature. That way, if you've just got one good spot for a screen and a camera, you don't have to pick or choose. You can mount them both. So that's cool. They give you a wrench here. That's for the TPMS locking nuts and a whole bunch of different Allen wrenches because we now have 3 different sizes, plus a dedicated little teeny weeny Phillips screwdriver. That's for the SD card. And here is the front camera and the TPS sensors. These are the not super old type, but not the brand new type. They're the in the middle type. They're big enough where you don't want to run rubber valve stems with them, but they're still all plastic, nice and light. They didn't go with, as we saw on the Fobo, if you watch that review I did, knurling on both. So you do need a wrench to actually open these, but they're not bad. They're larger in size than the smallest, but they're pretty darn light. That's that, but I do suggest metal valve stems. All right, let's go back out to the garage. So just to clarify what I said earlier about the power wire, the instructions here have conflicting info, and that's very common for all these types of brands. This one is written pretty well, but here's the problem. It shows a photo or an illustration of connecting directly to the battery. But then up here it says it won't shut off if you connect directly to the battery. Obviously you don't want to do that. So you definitely need to use a switched power source. And what I find in general, all the instructions that come with this kind of thing, they're only good for finding the install for the app. And I'm going to mount it right here to my ram ball that I've got on my clutch reservoir. Got a video on these covers. They come in both ram ball mount and GoPro socket if you want to get some for your bike. And to install the ram ball on this side, I'm just going to take these off so I can get the mount off, and we'll replace this little guy here that is for the stock bar mount. And there's the underside. We'll just remove that. And I just noticed they sent the wrong one. I thought this unscrewed and it was a dual purpose, but it doesn't. It's got a hex thread or hex socket on the inside. I'll try a little harder because I'm not going to end up using this, but I want to see if it comes out. Anyway, the way this works is the accessories for it have a nut shape and then thread in like that. But I think this was either for something else or they thought I was putting it on something else. I'm not sure. But they do have tons and tons of different mounts so they can hook you up. Just be sure to pay attention. Anyway, I've got my own that I can mount to this that I used, same as the C6, so not a big deal there. There we go. Luckily, the actual ram ball accessory part fits just fine. Link to that and everything else down below. Now, a word of caution, there are 2 types of these little doors that go for the SD card slot. captured and non-captured. They are teeny tiny little Phillips head screws. I do appreciate that they didn't use safety torques or anything needing an actual special driver, but when they're non-captured, they are easily lost. I didn't see any extras here. Sometimes you'll have an extra in the bag anticipating that they'll be lost, but the better way to do it is to make them captured on this plate. So taking it off, it is metal. I like that rather than plastic. And we've got the rubber sealing panel underneath that. So I'm gonna take that off, little arrow here, peel it from this side, and pop in a card. And you do need high quality, high capacity, high speed endurance cards. Link down to that also below. Now there's no tab or indent on the rubber, so I just had to jam in the driver to get it started, but it is nice and thick, so don't worry about ripping it or anything like that. There's my card of choice for dash cams, and the slot in there. There's something in there. I'm not sure if it comes with a card or not. Let me pop that out. Might be a blank. Hey, look at that. It comes with a small, generic, but usable memory card. Not bad. I do suggest you get a faster, bigger one for longevity and use. A 64 gig with 2 cameras running, you're only talking a few hours of footage before it starts to loop back on itself. So just bear that in mind. But hey, good that they give it to you and it's up and going right out of the box. I don't remember if the C6 came with one or not. There we go. Nice and secure up on the ram ball. Now I can tell you from experience that using the app is just fine for pulling off a clip. If something happens, you need to get some footage, definitely use the app. It's fast, it's easy, no problem. But if you're doing a lot, like you don't remember where in the trip you needed the footage from, definitely pull out the card because the app is not that fast. Good enough for a single clip, not for dumping the whole thing. And we're wired up into the Fuseblock. Now I've got a section of another detailed video where I go over lots of tips and tricks on wiring the FJR, but there's lots of stuff in there that applies to any bike. So if you're installing anything like this or anything that needs wiring, take a look at that. Again, link down below. No work needed for the cameras. They are perfect. I'm just gonna put on the tape. Make sure you take off your protective film there. Now one note, and this goes for any brand because none of the brands are making the cameras, they're all sourcing them from other factories. You'll have a top indicator. They're not always accurate. I found, 20% or so of them assembled incorrectly, so the sensor inside is tilted or completely upside down. So if you're gonna be putting these somewhere that's very inaccessible to allow you to loosen this up and rotate it once it's on the bike, plug it in ahead of time and verify that this is actually your up mark, so you're not having to screw yourself. Also, double check the orientation of the bolt and nut. They are reversible. So in my case, this is gonna be mounted like this underneath my front fairing, and I need this to be facing down. So I'm gonna take this off, flip it around, and put the camera in facing the other way. That way I can use an Allen wrench on here and loosen it and tighten it to align it. And as always, we're going to double check the voltage of the batteries in the tire pressure monitor sensors. A is front wheel, B is rear wheel. We're looking for about 3.4 volts if it's a brand new fully charged battery. Below 3, they are going to be depleted. I've had to run to the store once before, when another brand, but so far only one has actually come with a brand new set in the package, plus whatever was slightly depleted in the units. And the Fobo, the dedicated TPMS system, did it the best way. They put plastic inside, so you had a new battery and you just had to pop the cover off, pull the plastic, and start the clock. But let's go ahead and open these up. Just need the little wrench that comes with it, unscrew it, and we'll see the coin cells. Well, that's interesting. They put the wrong wrench in the bag. It's too small. And I verified there's no other wrench in there. Luckily, I have plenty of wrenches that will fit that. Nothing special. You could probably do it by hand. So for these curious, these are a 13 mil. And inside are the mid-size 1632s. And the first one is barely adequate. We're right at 3 volts. So good enough for the review, but this would be dead probably within a month or two. Let's try the other one. And the second one, same thing. All right, so pretty on par. Not terrible, not great. I'm just going to put these back together. I'm not going to put them on the bike until we power up the system, because to add them to the controller, you need to have pressure registering. Okay, moment of truth. First boot. We're going to run through the menus. Assuming it powers on. Cool. And there is an option, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the unboxing. You can now customize this screen with whatever JPEG you want. You just send it into them. There's instructions on the page. So first of all, completely different menus. We've got the automatic recording of the dash cam, so that's going. Like I said, all new hardware, all new OS. However, if you just use this for CarPlay and Android Auto, you're not going to see any of this. That's why I'm saying go through everything before you decide whether or not you want to stick with your C6 if you recently got it, or just treat this as, okay, cool, you know, the next wave gets a little improvement. But me personally, I'm never going to see this beyond the first setup. I just don't use it. Anyway, we've got our readouts here. Like I said, I haven't put them on yet, so we're not reading any tire pressures. Interconnect, that's going to be your CarPlay or Android Auto setup, which I haven't done yet. Driving recorder, that's obviously the dash cams. Replay, that's if you want to play back clips. And first we're going to go into settings. Very nice looking screen, very nice contrast. I'm reserving judgment until I get the dash cams working though. There wasn't anything in the instructions really going through everything, so we're going to find out together. Link show, I have no clue what that is. Oh, okay, so it's what cameras you want to be visible on the dash cam display screen. That's cool. Full screen, front, back, all. I don't know what they are yet, so I'm not going to change anything. Time setting. Does this have... No, this does not have a built-in GPS. So it's going to be using the GPS for navigation from your phone. That's one difference between the C6. The C6 had built-in GPS. The difference is it's going to set your automatic time and everything, but you're also going to get your speedo display, which you can optionally record on your dash cam settings. For navigation, it's also going to save your battery life if it's built into the device. Sometimes, it depends on the device. Anyway, I'm +5 and 10, 25. Is it the 25th already? I'm not sure if this is accurate or not. Anyway, I'll set that in a bit. Just want to run through this real quick. Pressure, I want to set to PSI and Fahrenheit. And here's where you can set your high and low pressure alarms. So below 35, I want to know about it. Oh, that's weird. 34, 33, 1. It's got skips in it. I think it's registering the actual control in bar. Yeah, so that's what it's doing. It's converting these to PSI on the fly. So you're not going to have each individual pound indicator. Close enough. We'll say 36. And a high of, say, 50. Good enough. This is probably pairing. If I tap start, it'll probably want me to screw on the units. I'm not going to do that right now, but that's how you do it. Language, we should be set to English. Standard stuff there. Pretty responsive touch screen too. No issue there whatsoever. The most important thing for screens that I'm going to test, and the C6 did very well, so I have high hopes this one will also, is in high heat, and I'm in Florida, and temps here, even though we're late November, we're still just about hitting 90 in the daytime in direct sun. Sometimes the screens will overheat and go very dim. I want to make sure that this one doesn't do that before I really give it the stamp of approval. Time format, what's that? 12, okay, 24 hour. I like the 12 hour personally, just easier for me. Screen saver. This is if you want the screen to automatically blank. That's going to be completely personal preference. I'm going to leave it off, especially for review purposes. Bluetooth, this is a very common question I get in all these review videos. Yes, you can link things directly to this, like speakers that you may have or your headset optionally. You don't need to. That is not standard procedure. When you link your phone via Android Auto or CarPlay to the device, that is all you do. Standard operating is your headset is already paired to your phone, and it operates exactly the same way, same as if you're playing something from your phone. CarPlay and Android Auto are really a screen mirroring and control system. This is not powering your comm system. Nothing changes with that. Once you connect to your Android Auto or CarPlay, that's it. This is just basically like an extension of your phone. So do not pair your headset to this. No need to do that. That's the way you did it way back before you had CarPlay and Android Auto. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Sometimes, yep, I knew it. Sometimes these screens, you have to swipe left, right, or up or down, but there's no indication that you do that. There's no arrow, there's no more, there's no progress bar or anything like that. But yep, so brightness. So there is no auto that I see yet. High, we're just gonna leave it on high. The auto brightness can be very handy in nighttime situations or going through tunnels, but we'll see what happens with this one. Sometimes there's a separate setting somewhere for the auto, but usually it's in brightness. Format, yeah, we're gonna format that real quick. I'm using the one that came with the system just for the full review. I've never had a problem with the built-in ones. They're just small. Version, I'm assuming it's current. Storage size, we got our 64 gigs. Factory reset, that's if you're selling it. You just want to wipe it back to factory settings. Touch unlock. Long press recorder icon on the main interface, 3 seconds, and red lock. Okay, we don't want to use that. At least I don't for the review. All right, so let's see. Interconnect. This is going to want me to iPhone. Yes, there's lots of spelling errors, both in the manual and these kinds of menus. That's par for the course. It does not matter what brand. They're all made in China. They're all made from just a couple factories, and all these companies that are selling stuff are just buying them in bulk, modifying some of the menus with their name on it, pairing up certain accessories. And these are really modular. I mean, you might find the exact same housing with different options from a different company, but you also get different support. The fly-by-nights, the ones that are only selling direct through AliExpress, for example, good luck getting support. Good luck getting firmware updates. And these companies really do port out firmware updates and improve things, especially after some feedback. So this is how you connect, and I will do that off camera, obviously, because I'm recording with it. And I want to see full screen here. Let's see, that looks a little... I've got these lines, and I can see them here on my camera as well. That really looks like a 50-60 hertz distortion, though. Usually there's a video settings that I can change. No, just that's the resolution, not what I wanted. Back camera mirror, date watermark. Let's see, what is this showing me? The back camera, do I need to mirror it? Car's on my left. So yes, I do. Let's see. I think that's correct. But yeah, usually there's a 50 or 60 hertz setting for the screen. Record settings off, on. I don't know what that does. Maybe it's the on-screen display. Loop recording, this is your length of clips. I like the long clips, less files. Date watermark, that's if you want the time and date on the video. Sure, why not? Oh, mic recording settings, the icon there. Okay, I see. Yes, we want audio recorded in the cameras. Totally optional. Pretty much you're just going to get wind noise on any of them, but it can be helpful, that's for sure. Still looking for that video format. Anyway, this is probably a quick, if you want it to record the mic or not. That's probably take a snapshot. This is stop recording or start. This probably cycles through the settings or the video. See, there you go. That camera there needs to be rotated. Luckily, I can get to it because like I showed you, I can access my screw, but I can fix that no problem. And then this should go back to the main menu. That's weird that I'm interested to see now when I get this in editing if those lines will be in the video or if it's just this view screen here. You can see them here. It's just on this real-time display. Interesting. All right, so that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the tire pressure monitors. It's already registering them, so they are paired already. That's cool. They're showing freezing though, it's not. Anyway, we'll get on the road. All right, well that's interesting. I just started it up. I was gonna pair and install the tire pressure monitors. Boot screen came up, and I started the bike in the middle of the boot, and it just went dead. So we're gonna try to, let me shut that off so I can talk. Just note that this is one that is very voltage sensitive to a drop. So you're gonna have it reboot like that. Not all of them do that. The C6, I believe, did not do that. The Chiggy doesn't do that. So just something to look out for. Anyway, I'm gonna install the tire pressure monitors now. Let's see, where do I go for that? Probably here. And we'll start pairing. Okay, so it wants the front one first. I'm gonna go ahead and install that. Should pick it right up. There we go, picked it right up. Now we'll put on the rear. Good to go. Comes on. Now if I try to start, we'll see if it freezes this time. Did it for me a couple times. So not every time, but just note that it did do it for me once. Let me turn this off real quick. And there we go. CarPlay works absolutely flawlessly. Auto connects after about 10-15 seconds after initial boot up. We have our button to go back to the main screen here or the custom one here with the menu built in. Home does the same thing. Volume is if you're Bluetoothing to, say, Bluetooth speakers on your dashboard. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything. This is your brightness slider, same as the setting in the system. And then this is your display of the dash cams, and you swipe left and right. Sorry, I got my lawn crew here getting a little loud. But overall, it looks very good. I have not checked out the editing footage of the actual recording from the cameras yet, so I don't know how that looks. But the screen looks great, response is fine. No issue there. You can swipe between alternating these or full screen front or rear. And everything looks good. All right, let's get on the road. So as I mentioned, this doesn't have a built-in GPS. It uses the one from your phone, so there's nothing in here about your satellite connections or strength of signal or anything like that. Let's check out how responsive things are. Little laggy. I want to say the 6 might have been a little bit better. This has like a jump to it. There's like a delay that I don't recall the 6 having. Let's see if we can pinch to zoom. No, that's fine. See if we have a plus or minus. We do. So I'm just showing Apple Maps right now. I normally use Scenic for my motorcycle navigation. However, they just came out with a brand new version and CarPlay is not 100% on it yet. So I'm just sticking with this just for the sake of this video. It's totally usable. Not perfect, but totally usable. I still want to say the 6 was a little bit better. Might have been because of the built-in GPS. It was different hardware. All right, ready to roll out. Let's check the music speed here. That is really quick. See how fast things pop in here. I'm hearing it now on my headset. Let's go back to home. And I love seeing on your home screen your pressure and temp right there of your tires along with the date and time. That's perfect. It's pretty much the only thing you're going to use this home screen for when you're riding. Everything else is either one and done just for setup or when you're off the bike. Let's just go into a screen display here and get rolling. I've got direct Florida sun out, so it's not going to be long before I can tell you if the screen has an issue with heat or not. I doubt it does since the 6 didn't. We're going to check out dash cam quality front and rear. And then later on, I will go out tonight. Hello, second works. New boots, I'm still getting used to a lot of stuff here. That's what sucks when you make a whole bunch of changes at the same time. So anyway, around this corner, we'd have torture test for dash cams. We're going to see bright clouds in the sky. We're going to see dark shadows in the tree line. Yes, it is 25 through here, people, not 40.
you're doing good. So check out the details on the road for the dash cams, front and back. We got shadows here from the trees. See how the colors look. Should look pretty good. I didn't have any problem with the 6 quality. It was a solid second best out of the whole bunch, and no problem whatsoever if you actually need to use the footage in an accident or anything. That's what's important here. This is not an action cam. This is not for capturing your trip. And obviously, just looking at the difference between my action cam and the dash cams, you can see why. They're not meant for that. So I'm gonna ride up and down the main road here, get the sun directly on it for a good 5 or 10 minutes. And it's already hot. It's been sitting in the garage. Sensitivity with gloves is good. You do have to press a little bit, but other than that, works as you would expect. Overall brightness is very good. I can easily see everything, even with the sun directly on it. It's over my shoulder here, and even with my tinted visor on my helmet. No problem at all reading the time there. I can see the screen. It's even easier on the home screen with the better contrast of what's on there. That's exceptionally clear. Go into CarPlay, pull up your navigation, let it locate me here real quick, and there we go. Swipes just fine. Obviously what this looks like completely depends on the nav app you particularly like to run, but it's nothing unusual whatsoever. Works like any car. Go back to the screen there. Dashcam display looks perfect. Overall brightness, I want to say it's a little bit, maybe 10-15% brighter overall than the 6. Just my gut reaction. I can't measure it, obviously, but it looks completely normal. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Glare is okay. It's about the best that I've seen from these kinds of unit. But obviously, if you're just listening to music or looking at your nav, you're not going to be using this as a television. You want to glance down, get your information, and go. And it's doing an exceptional job at doing that. Let's test out distance to read a plate here. This guy's about 4 car lengths ahead of me now. Oh, he is going fast too. Now about 3 and 2 and 1. So you can see how you need to be close enough to read a plate. Of course, if something happens, it's likely to be even closer than that to the camera, but it's just good for a comparison, and I've done it for all the tests. I don't expect the 1080p dash cam to be able to read a plate more than a car length away, especially if it's moving, because the processor is dealing with all kinds of information, and it has to chunk everything, especially with a lot of detail like these trees and branches and texture of the road and all that. It can actually be a lot clearer at night, with the exception of the glare off from headlights on a license plate. So it totally depends on the situation. Got our rush hour here, our wonderful one intersection for the entire neighborhood to get out with a light. It's an absolute nightmare. There are accidents right here at this cut through, people trying to turn out from the Publix, and of course people trying to turn left and just get out onto the main street. The state because this is a state road here, US 41, is refusing to do anything. And they just are in the process right now of finishing thousands of new apartments right there across the corner. They just opened up for business a couple months ago, and it's just an absolute nightmare. Our other entrance, which you've seen me go in at, which I'm going to go in at here, has no light, and they have no plans for years on adding a light because the street across from US 41 isn't built yet, and they don't care. So just a quick test here for how it looks at higher speeds, just looking for detail, see if it does anything weird with the road or the sky. I doubt it will, since again, the 6 had no problem. All right, so there is daytime. I'll be back in a few hours and we'll get some nighttime footage. Just verify all that looks good, and I'll give you my final thoughts. This is a toughie. All right, quick night test here. We're looking for the quality of the front and the rear. Okay, yes, this screen is definitely brighter than the 6. It's on full brightness right now, and it is like twice as bright as my gauges. Now, it doesn't have an automatic brightness control, so you would want to hit the brightness slider there and turn it down a bit, and just have to remember where you like it for the nighttime control. Not a big deal, and it's good that it has the brightness to overcome bright sunny days. A lot of these units surprisingly don't, which is amazing. Now, I fully expect these cameras to be pushing some good quality, nothing unusual, but I will find out when I look back at editing, of course. And if you're wondering about these awesome headlights, you might notice the sharp cutoff line, the bright white color of the LEDs and all that kind of good stuff. Link down below to that. These are under 30 bucks to your door for 2 H4 complete replacement setups. They go right in the FJR, they'll go right in your bike if it takes an H4. So we're gonna buzz through a little well-lit at night parking lot here and then go out on the road real quick, see if we can check out some cars, just see how plates look. Now, like I mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, sometimes the headlights on your bike are gonna make plates look just completely blown out. So just take that with a grain of salt, but here we've got a very well-lit parking lot so we can see the best nighttime quality you're gonna get. All right, get behind this guy here. That looks good. All right, so right here, he's about 4 car lengths away. I'll dip my lights down below. All right, he's got like some kind of smoke plate. I can't even see it. Let's go to the guy in front of him. That's a little better. Here's 4 car lengths. 3, 2, 1. So at night I can only see the plate a good 1 car length ahead. All right, I'm gonna buzz back home, get these files on my computer, and I will give you my closing thoughts.
All right, after reviewing the footage on my computer, I'm going to give you my final thoughts. And it really boils down to, do you want the 9 or the 6, which currently still holds, spoiler alert, the value leader in my opinion. Same price for both. Both have slightly different pros and cons. Now, if you already have the 6 installed, there's no need to even worry about this. This is only concerning people that don't have one yet and you're trying to decide between the two. Let me tell you why I'm going to say still go with the 6 unless these features that the 6 has don't matter to you at all and some of the differences on the 9 do. The C6 offers a couple things, one of which is probably going to be more important to most people, the built-in GPS. And that not only helps save your phone battery a little bit, but it gives you a speed and coordinate overlay that's optional on your videos. That can be very important to some people in dash cams. With the 9 here, without a built-in GPS, you just have the time and date overlay on the video, and that's it. So there's no proof as to how fast and where you were in the event that anything happens. All right, so that's the biggest thing a built-in GPS gives you. The other thing the 6 has that this doesn't is a remote, which can be, depending on where you're mounting your display, very important. Now, me personally, I have my stuff obviously mounted right within range, so I don't use remotes, but you very well may. If you have yours mounted up forward where you can't easily reach it with your hand, putting a little remote down here, well, that makes a lot of sense, and the 6 has that. So that's something to think about. The advantage to the 9 is a slightly nicer screen, not day and night. If you didn't have both, you'd never notice. But I can tell the difference. It's just, a little bit brighter. But it still doesn't have auto brightness. So that's not any kind of deal breaker. The other really nice thing this has for new installations are the flawless camera mounts. I mean, these are absolutely perfect. This is the way to go. But this is a one and done kind of feature. If you've already installed them from your 6, this makes absolutely no difference to you. That's really about it. The footage is identical. Operation is identical. Software features, minus the GPS related speed stuff, is identical. Same app, same operation, same overall responsiveness and speed. This does have a card built in, but again, you're definitely going to want a bigger one. Just in my testing doing this review, I filled up half the card that was included in here. So really, you're only getting a few hours of footage on a 32 gig card. And yeah, I would definitely suggest putting in a 128 for general dash cam use, especially with 2 cameras, because that obviously doubles your recording. Other than that, great unit. There's no drawback to it. You do have, as I mentioned, a ton of mount options. You can contact them when you place your order. Link down below, by the way, and get any kind of mount you want to fit wherever you want to put it on your bike. So that's it. Hope it helps. I might have some more of these coming. Not sure. I've covered a bunch. I think I've covered all the bases. If you want to see something specific, hey, shoot me a line, drop a comment, or better yet, reach out to the manufacturer, something you want to see reviewed, and give them my link. And I will certainly get that done for you. All right, that's it. See you next time.